We live most of our days under a strange hallucination, the sense that I am a separate ego, sealed within a bag of skin, peering out at a world that is somehow alien, threatening, indifferent. Alan Watts named it with brutal clarity. The prevalent sensation of oneself as a separate ego enclosed in a bag of skin is a hallucination. And yet we cling to that hallucination because it feels safe, it feels necessary. If I am this little creature in here, then maybe I can defend myself, control the world out there, manage my relationships, earn approval, avoid rejection. But what actually happens? The harder we grip, the more exhausted we become. Every silence feels like abandonment. Every delay feels like rejection. Every flaw in the plan feels like evidence that we are fundamentally inadequate. But pause here, take a breath, and notice, who is the one who is supposedly outside? If your breath is arriving without your command, if the heart beats by itself, if sounds come to your ear before any eye claims them, then what is the border you're trying so hard to defend? The boundary between inside and outside flickers when we look closely, and Watts points out the obvious with his mischievous smile. We say, I came into this world. He shakes his head. We didn't. We came out of it. Just like leaves come out of a tree, waves come out of the sea, sparks come out of fire. You don't arrive here as a stranger. You sprout from here as expression of the whole. Belonging, then, is not something you earn. It is not something society can give or take away. Belonging is the most basic fact of your existence. You are not in the universe. You are the universe at this place, in this moment, under this particular name and face. Try to feel that now. Touch your sleeve. Sip water. Let your eyes soften as the light pours in. Each sensation is the world happening through you, not you versus the world, but you as the world. The anxiety of separation loosens when you see that participation is not optional. You are woven into whole by every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of awareness. And yet, the mind resists. It whispers, if I relax, won't I lose myself? Won't others use me, walk over me, erase me? This is the great misunderstanding. To see your continuity with the world is not to vanish. It is to locate yourself truly. Boundaries remain, but they become intelligent, alive, like membranes. They allow some things in, keep some things out, always in service of the living whole. And here's the strange gift: dignity grows. You no longer beg for permission to exist. You no longer perform kindness to prove worth. Cooperation arises naturally, the way fingers coordinate within a hand. The fight to defend my place dissolves because your place is undeniable. Of course, pain still comes. Rejection, heartbreak, loneliness. But pain changes meaning. It is no longer proof that you are cut off from life. It is contact at the seam where patterns clash. Rejection becomes friction, not condemnation. Abandonment becomes reconfiguration, not erasure. Pain informs. You adjust. You continue, without having to collapse into self-accusation. Try a small practice. Next time anxiety loops, widen awareness by 10%. Let one more sound in. Relax the tongue. Unclench the hands. Whisper softly. Participate. And then take one cooperative step. Drink water. Open a window. Send a clear message. Or let it wait without self-torment. Each micro-act is allegiance to the truth. You are already part of the flow. Even language matters. Shift from my breath to the breath. From my life to this life. It is not superstition. It is training. Pronouns shape attention. And when attention loosens, shame loosens. Less pressure on a tiny ego manager. More openness to the living field. And sometimes belonging tastes bittersweet. Leaves fall. Fires burn out. Waves collapse. The fleetingness of things is not a flaw in belonging. It is its flavor. Fragility is not failure. It is how the whole continues to move. Sit beside sadness like you sit beside a river. You don't need to fix the water. You let it flow. So remember, You did not come into this world. The world came out as you. You are not a visitor at the table. The table itself grew you. And when the ache of separation returns, recall what's two anchors. The prevalent sensation of oneself as a separate ego enclosed in a bag of skin is a hallucination, and we didn't. We came out of it. You are not trying to join the ocean. You are the ocean waving. Hold that image gently, because next we'll see why every attempt to define yourself completely will always fail, and why that failure is not a curse but a door. The human mind loves definitions. We chase them as if the right label could secure our identity once and for all. Who am I really? What am I supposed to become? But Alan Watts laughs at this chase, because it's doomed from the start. You can't bite your own teeth. The tool of definition cannot define itself. The self trying to pin itself down vanishes the moment you look too closely. And instead of being a tragedy, this is liberation. You are not failing to define yourself. You are living the very truth that the lived moment always exceeds the concept. The definition is smaller than the reality. The reality breathes, shifts, flows beyond the net of words. So reverse the sequence. Feel first, label later. And when the label doesn't fit, keep the feeling, not the label. Try for just 60 seconds. Notice texture, pressure, movement, sound, taste. The chair yielding under you. The air on your cheek. The rhythm of breath. Expanding and softening. All of this is direct, immediate, undeniable. Concepts can follow, but they will always arrive late. And here Watts offers another luminous angle. Every one of us is an aperture through which the whole cosmos looks out. An aperture is not a prison. It doesn't hoard the light. It frames, it channels, it lets through. You are not a sealed subject staring at a dead world. You are the opening by which reality experiences itself. When you feel lonely, let that sink in. You are not just a person left out in the cold. You are the universe noticing itself here and now, in this unique perspective that will never be repeated. That does not erase your pain, but it shifts it. Loneliness becomes intimacy with the fact that you are an irreplaceable angle on the whole. This reframes authenticity too. We imagine that be authentic is to strip off every mask, to reveal some raw, fixed essence. But what reminds us? The self plays hide and seek. Personas are not frauds, they are tools. You are a teacher in one moment, a friend in another, a lover, a stranger, a listener. Masks are not prisons when you remember the one who wears them. So authenticity is not ripping the mask away. It is playing consciously. It is knowing which mask serve this moment, and then setting it down when it is done. The wearer remains free. This changes how we meet critique too. If you are a window, then criticism is weather. Some rain simply rolls off. Some mud needs cleaning, because it blocks the view. Neither makes the window worthless. The point is to keep the channel open, to let light move, and see how this changes your daily stance. Instead of obsessing, who am I really? You ask instead, how can I stay clear? How can I aim this aperture so that what needs to come through comes through? This brings dignity without heaviness. You don't have to prove that you are the sun. You don't have to despair that you are nothing. You are the glass. And the glass matters precisely because it is how the light arrives. Let this settle. Feel your breath again. Place a hand on your chest. Whisper, aperture, not emblem. And go on, not trying to capture yourself in a sentence, but allowing life to move through you as a presence, as a witness, as a participant. Because the moment you stop biting your own teeth, you can finally eat. You can finally live, taste, move, without needing to hold yourself in a rigid definition. And so, the question shifts. If there's no hard border between inside and outside, if the self wears masks in an infinite game, what does that mean for the boundary we call me? What happens when inside and outside are not rivals, but partners? That's where we turn next. We imagine inside and outside as if they were opposing realms. My inner thoughts and feelings versus the outer world of objects and people. But what dismantles the separation with elegant simplicity? For every outside, there's an inside. They go together. Think of a coin. You cannot have the front without the back. Or think of a wave. It has a crest and a trough, but they are inseparable. In the same way, what you call inside only exists in relation to outside. The border is not a wall, but a meeting place. This changes everything about how we hold our skin. If you imagine your skin as armor, then you live in constant battle, me against the world. If you imagine it as a membrane, a bridge, then the world breathes you in and you breathe the world out. Exchange replaces warfare. The boundary is not erased, but reimagined. So much of our fear in relationship comes from guarding this imagined fortress. If I let the other in, I'll lose myself. But when you see that the self is always co-created at the boundary, then intimacy becomes less threatening. You are not dissolving into the other. You are discovering yourself with the other. The inside is textured by the outside. Your laughter bends to the tone of their voice. Your heartbeat steadies in the presence of trust. The world outside is already inside you. This is why the obsession with total control collapses. If inside and outside are one process, then control is always partial, always mutual. You don't need to dominate to exist. You need to respond. Life is not performance to prove worth. It is a dance of responsiveness. Now let's weave in another insight of Watts, playful and profound. There's just the one self playing its myriad games of hide and seek. Behind all the masks, the one self hides and reveals itself. That means your persona, your roles, your masks are not frauds. They are costumes in the great play. How often we torment ourselves with the feeling of being fake. We say, I'm not truly myself when I'm polite at work, when I'm cautious with family, when I'm enthusiastic with friends. But what's with smile? Of course you shift masks. The problem is not wearing them. The problem is forgetting that you are the one wearing them. Imagine the relief if you saw persona as tool, not as betrayal. The mask of the worker, the friend, the lover, the stranger, each is useful in its time. Authenticity is not stripping all masks away. It is playing with awareness. It is choosing the costume consciously and knowing you can lay it down. When you feel false, whisper this. It is not a fraud, it is a role. And then ask, am I conscious in playing this role or am I trapped in it? That question alone opens freedom. Because freedom is not to be maskless. Freedom is to wear the mask lightly. Notice how this transforms even the pain of inadequacy. If the game is hide and seek, then not every role will fit perfectly. Some masks itch, some sag, some delight, but none of them exhaust the self. The self laughs behind them, experimenting, discovering, creating. Think of children playing dress-up. They put on costumes with absolute seriousness, and yet they never forget the play. That is authenticity. Serious about the play, without believing the mask is final. So you see how inside and outside collapse into one movement, and how persona shifts from fraud to play. The fortress softens into a bridge. The mask softens into costume. And behind it all, the self peaks, grinning, waiting for you to join the game consciously. And here lies a deep tenderness. You don't need to resolve forever who you really are. You don't need to conquer the fear of being false. You need only to remember. Inside and outside meet, and the self is never lost in its disguises. It is always here, playing. So, can you relax the armor? Can you play the mask without shame? Can you let the line between inside and outside shimmer instead of harden? If you can, then the world stops being a battlefield and becomes a playground of revelation. What's once observed that we imagine our bodies end at the skin, that the world out there is something separate, threatening, foreign. But he turns the picture upside down. The world beyond the skin is actually an extension of our own bodies. Look at it. The trees making oxygen you breathe. The rivers quenching thirst. The soil feeding every grain. The light shaping every rhythm of your body. Where do you end? Where does the world begin? If the heart depends on air, and air depends on trees, and trees depend on soil, then your body is not a bag of skin. It is a node in a living network. To care for the world, then, is not charity. It is expanded self-care. To drink clean water is to cleanse your veins. To protect silence is to nourish your nervous system. To honor cycles of day and night is to honor your own circadian rhythm. The war of me versus world softens into ecological identity. You are this planet, noticing itself in human form. This shift changes daily life. Instead of forcing routines against the grain, you begin to cooperate with cycles already present. Sleeping with darkness, waking with light, eating with awareness of the chain of life behind each bite. Listening not just to thoughts, but to the seasons, the weather, the subtle cues of fatigue and renewal. You are not an exile in nature. You are nature. But why do we forget this? Because our attention narrows into a tight spotlight. Let's describe it this way. We have two kinds of consciousness, the spotlight and the floodlight. The spotlight is sharp, narrow, analytical. It cuts objects out, names them, manipulates them. It is vital. Without it, we couldn't survive. But when it becomes the only mode, life turns into endless problems to solve, endless threats to manage. The ego hardens, the self contracts. The floodlight, on the other hand, is wide, soft, inclusive. It notices the whole field at once. The way your body feels in the chair, the sound of distant birds, the pulse of silence beneath the noise. Floodlight does not dissect. It receives. It connects. And here lies the key: balance. You don't abandon spotlight. Without it, you couldn't tie your shoes, finish a project, drive a car. But you weave it with floodlight. You zoom in when needed, then soften back into the field. You solve, then you sense. You do, then you be. Try it right now. Notice your breath as spotlight. Feel one inhalation, one exhalation. Sharp, focused, precise. Then widen. Let the whole room come into awareness. The hum of air, the temperature, the feeling of your feet on the ground. Let attention be panoramic. That shift is floodlight. Both are you. Both are necessary. And when you weave them, identity loosens. The isolated ego, frantic in its spotlight, dissolves into a wider awareness. Problems shrink into patterns. Fears loosen into sensations. Life becomes less about fighting to prove existence and more about participating in an unfolding rhythm. Ecological identity and attentional balance converge here. You are not just a mind locked in a skull. You are a body extended into rivers and forests, woven into stars. You are not just a spotlight straining to solve. You are also floodlight, bathing in the whole. So let the war end. Drink water, as if quenching the earth. Breathe air as if returning a gift. Look at a tree as if seeing your own lung turn inside out. And when anxiety narrows a mind to a single problem, open floodlight. Let the larger field dissolve contraction. What's voice lingers. The world beyond the skin is your body, and consciousness is not just spotlight, but floodlight. If you can live this, then loneliness softens into intimacy, fear into play, exhaustion into rhythm. You realize you were never cut off. You are always the universe noticing itself, breathing here as you